Hello everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to be going over some new decks that are actually so new that they're not out internationally. Isn't that fun? These are, well, actually, most of the cards are out. These are cards and decks specifically that feature cards from the new set Crimson Haze in Japan, which is going to be our Twilight Masquerade, or part of our Twilight Masquerade set here internationally. It's actually a small portion of it, and are only going to be looking at a few new cards, but these are all tournament winning deck lists. They're winning city leagues, which are all, I think, 64 people. They could be a little less, that's the cap, but they're around there. And let's just hop into the lists. Bit of a spoiler, it's mostly Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. That is really good. I said it was really good when it was revealed, and it is. But we'll see a few other things, including Greninja EX. Those are the two main Pokemon from this set. There aren't too many other good ones from this set. And there's a few ace specs and no stamp. I forget what unfair stamp that's actually not in any of the winning lists, unless I missed one. But it's certainly not performing to the same level that like Prime Catcher is doing. But anyway, let's just hop into things. First of all, we have the only tournament winning Greninja EX stack. Greninja EX, for those of you not familiar with it, Ninja Blade for 1 water on a stage 2 EX. It is fighting but uses water energy. And it's Terra as well, so immune to bench damage. You do 170 to your opponent's active, and then search your deck for any one card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So the list is based around multiple stage 2s with Pidgeot and Greninja, and we have some other things going on, some text enhanced hammer that is being reprinted, removing a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. With canceling Cologne, counter catcher, Professor Terra scenario, team devolution, a lot of one ofs and two ofs. And those cards you can search out with Pidgeot EX or Greninja EX. But arguably more importantly, duplicates barrage here. And by the way, the attack names are translated, so they could be a little off, but you get the idea. Duplicates barrage, it does, you discard 2 energy from it for water, colorless, and it does 120 to your opponent's Pokemon. This is really interesting because it's a little awkward to power up, but the list does run double turbo energy, and then of course water energy. So you will be hitting 100 damage to your opponent's Pokemon as opposed to 120, which is worse, but it is enough. Hopefully, and then you can go and hopefully target Manaphy's with Canceling Clone and Counter Catcher and Boss, and then Lost City and stuff like that. You have Team Devolution, you have a lot of different options, and can target the bench, can hit a decent amount of damage. 170 is pretty nice. There is no damage buff, but 170, as I said, is pretty good. And yeah, it's a pretty normal stage 2 deck. It's kind of like Charizard EX, but a little more versatile, I think, but also doesn't have that one-shotting potential. So that's all there is for Greninja right now. If you want me to go into more detail on it in a future video, I'd love to do that. But right now, we need to talk about Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, which I believe all the other decks here play. So first of all, we have two Lugia lists, which are similar, not the same, but pretty similar. Yeah, Lugia, Archeops, Chinchino, and excuse me, rip my voice. We have one copy of Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX in each of the lists. Your attack does for 5 colorless, 240, and can attack next turn. But Elder's Technique, oh, you have 260 on a basic as well, which is just kind of absurd. Basic EX, but still, it's pretty absurd. Elder Technique, this Pokemon's Blood Moon attack costs 1 colorless and do less for each prize your opponent's taken. So, obviously late game, it's pretty much Radiant Charizard, but colorless, more HP, but also gives up 2 prizes. So some positives, some negatives, but it's more versatile as well. So it's a pretty natural fit here as it is a basic. This list runs Snorlax and Bloodmoon Ursaluna. Also, we are only looking at lists that run new cards, so we aren't looking at like Charizard lists because they're not running the new cards. But yeah, Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX really good. Not too much to say about it in Lugia other than it's a colorless attacker that's really powerful. The rest of the list, they do run the new tool card as well. That tool card is Survival Cast, which is an ace spec. Previously, a lot of Lugia lists ran Master Ball, but now some are deciding to run Survival Cast. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is one-shotted by damage, and it has like full HP, yeah, and so if your opponent's playing Chien-Pao and they try to one-shot you, then this Pokemon is not knocked out when its HP becomes 10, and then you discard this tool. The interesting aspect here is obviously that it like gives you survivability even on your weaker Pokemon versus Giant Cape, or sorry, Hero's Cape, the Ace spec, that gives you 100 more HP. Sticking that on Chinchino or like Fluttermane in this list, or some Pokemon that does not have a lot of HP, it probably won't live. If you stick a Hero's Cape on Bloodmoon Ursaluna with going from 260 to 360, it very well may live, and you don't lose the tool, but it might not live. So Survival Cast is pretty nice. But then we have a few Lost Zone Giratina lists and then some regular Lost Zone lists. The Lost Zone Giratina lists are pretty normal. This one does run Iron Leaves. The other one doesn't actually. It doesn't run. Wait, what's this one cut? Oh, it doesn't run. This one doesn't run Manaphy. Yeah, so but pretty normal Lost and Giratina stuff. They are both running Radiant Greninja. And Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX is a great tech. It essentially allows you to run both Radiant Greninja, which is Radiant Greninja, and Radiant Charizard, but instead it's Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. It's super good. It's a tanky basic and hits high damage. Outside, it's kind of like Giratina V-Star, very similar stats, a little worse, but still close, but it's a basic, right? So that's really good. Also, there's no path to the peak, so this ability is never really going to get shut off. There is a new Iron Thorns. It's not doing well, right? It's not that good of a card. If we look at its performance, because I imagine some of you were wondering about that card. Has seen some play, but has not seen a ton of success compared to like this card. Um, so yeah, pretty much you do Bloodmoon Ursaluna. You do run Roxanne as well, so you can disrupt your opponent near the end of the game, put their hand down really small, and attack with this really powerful Pokemon. And while you can't attack back-to-back turns, you can switch in and out of the active. And of course, Lost Zone plays a lot of switching cards, so that's pretty easy to do. You can Mirage Gate as well. Both these decks, Lugia and Lost Zone, have the ability to accelerate energies to them, or the option to do that, meaning that you don't need to wait till the very end of the game till your opponent's taken a ton of prizes. You can potentially do it a little sooner. Your opponent can't run and hide from Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX forever. So yeah, I mean, it's just a really great basic that you can just pop down at any point, and your opponent can't really do anything about it other than lose. Yeah, there's not too much. And obviously, if they can, like, you don't want to. It's not gonna like take you from being down a ton to just winning the game. It's not like a miracle worker or whatever, but it's still really good, right? It's just simply amazing value, cheap attack, big damage, high HP. Then a few Lost Zone lists. I think 4 Lost Zone lists. Oh, this one's a little more interesting. I'll talk about this one next. So we got Bayonet EX and the single prize Bayonet and Radiant Charizard, so no Radiant Greninja. And we do have Mirage Gate, which you can use for attacking, and you will on Mew or Bloodmoon Ursaluna or potentially something else, but probably those two, and potentially Bayonet EX as well. But the idea here is that you go with a more simple and safe build where you have more focus on Stabilize, Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, and Radiant Charizard. So you have these consistent. Oh, and Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX does a little less damage than Radiant Charizard, but barely little. Barely less, I should say. So yeah, pretty much you just want to go ahead and you want to like you can item lock, but mostly you just hit with the basic Lost Zone attackers, and you don't overcomplicate things too much. You just go ahead and you say, oh, you've taken a few prizes. Okay, I'm just going to Radiant Charizard, Bloodmoon Ursaluna, and do massive damage every single turn with a basic. Radiant Charizard being a single prizer is really great in the prize trade, but Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX's higher HP and colorless attack cost means that you can use it in other scenarios. You can mix in Sableye, you can mix in Bayonet potentially if things go your way. And you do have Search for it as well with Ultra Ball, but you just have oh, you can reuse supporters really well as well with Bayonet, so that's pretty interesting. This list is really cool, but for this video, the main focus point is the Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, and you can just pop it into any deck. And I think it will start to see play in some other lists. In fact, looking at other lists that do play it, this is a future like box deck. Control, we'll actually talk about that in a minute. Greninja can play it, which is talking about Arceus can. I think this is Control again. Yeah, that's Control, and it plays that as an attacking option instead of Radiant Charizard. And yeah, no Charizard lists are playing it. I feel like Charizard could play it though. I feel like that's definitely an actual option that you could use because I mean it just has really high damage output. I guess at that point though you can attack with Charizard EX most likely or Radiant Charizard, so it's not super great value. Not bad, but you do have other options there. About as good, but in pretty much every other deck it's super good. Then we have 3 Lost Zone, like regular Lost Zone lists. They are pretty generic. They run Radiant Greninja, Sableye, and Roaring Moon EX, and Also, the Iron Hands EX and that type of thing. Nothing too crazy going on. It's relatively normal Lost Zone. They actually all run Iron Bundle, which is kind of interesting. I have not been playing too much Lost Zone. I know Iron Bundle is played in that deck somewhat often, but I mean the main point here is just that Bloodmoon Ursaluna fits in really well. It kind of acts like that Radiant Charizard, and it's really good in Lost Zone and any deck that is like basic focused because it's not an evolution. So if you need to fit in some evolution line, then you need to put in Ultra Balls or you don't necessarily need Ultra Balls, but you need some other way to search it out, and it's more like space. This is not a lot of space. It's literally a one card tech, colorless attacker. It's so good. And all these three lists are pretty similar. Oh, this one does run Raikou V as well. That's fun. So it can run Forest Steel Stone. The other ones don't actually run Forest Steel Stone. That doesn't matter for Bloodmoon Ursaluna though, and so you see that the lists are very focused on EXs. Potentially you might want to watch out for Mimikyu. Obviously this can get walled off by Mimikyu, Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX, which is something to be wary of and something that could, be an issue. But for the most part, I mean, it's just really good. And then the last list is a control list that runs it. It has some control stuff going on. You got the Snorlax and the Mawile, you have Pidgeot. You do have Radiant Charizard and Bloodmoon Ursaluna and Luxray. So you got a lot of opportunities for taking prizes here, kind of punishing your opponent. Also, because Lugia's pretty good, Luxray is really good against Lugia because it hits it for weakness. You can do other things, but I'm not a massive fan of Luxray. I prefer Radiant Charizard or Bloodmoon Ursaluna, but there is some advantages to Luxray, and it can do some interesting things, especially if your opponent's like walling basics or something like that. But I mean, this list, again, Bloodmoon Ursaluna is functioning similarly, a little differently to Radiant Charizard, but you don't need another Radiant, so you can check in Radiant Charizard, and you can always check in Bloodmoon Ursaluna. It's high HP. I mean, it's the second highest HP in the deck. The only higher HP Pokemon is a Stage 2 by 20 HP. You have almost, you have 70 more HP than this other basic. Yeah, like this is insane. It's definitely a card that's gonna kind of take over. I think it might be a little broken, to be honest. It's like really, really good. It's not winning like all the tournaments. It's winning where are the tournaments? It's maybe winning like a third or something. It's pretty much in most of the Lost Zone and Lugia lists. People might not have it as well. That's something to keep in mind. Jim Powell like, isn't playing it because he can one-shot stuff, but it could have value. Other top decks. I mean, I think it could really go in anything. Like this Arceus deck could check it in because why not? It's one energy. You can also loop it with Sharon's Care. That's pretty crazy. You can loop with Penny as well. This list runs Penny, so you can Penny loop it. I think it's just really, really good. Greninja's cool, but I mean, Bloodmoon Ursaluna is kind of broken. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Can tell me down below what you want me to cover as well from this set. Mask, what is it? Um, it's got to be here somewhere. It's the Scarlet and Violet 5A, which is I think it's Crimson Haze, yeah. So tell me what other cards you want me to talk about other than Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. I can go more into detail on any of the other ones, right? Greninja EX, Survival Cast. I could talk about Iron Thorns EX. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.